like an influencer. It's my baby is awake, and I will see you later. There's a lot of pink in my life. To review my February Memory Makers assignment. I'm in a bit of a different setup today because I felt like the lighting near the window was a little bit harder to control, and this is where I've been having a little bit more comfort with talking to the camera. When I've gone on Facebook Live a couple of times. So I've got a bit of a YouTube-y background behind me and a candle burning and some plants, so hopefully all is well and we can just kind of run through the assignment. I think too, the way this is set up, I'll have a better opportunity to kind of keep track of the time a little bit. The last couple Memory Maker reviews have been a little bit more rambly than I would like, and I really just want this to be a short and maybe a little bit more succinct, although, you know, I like to chat, a little bit more succinct of a review, especially because I have to do this while the baby's napping, and he might nap short or long, and we never know. So the shorter I keep it, I'm already rambling. The shorter I keep it, the more likely it is that I'll get the video done in one take. So my assignment this month, I only had 3 things in my assignment, and that was because it's a short month and already it's February 26th, and I review my assignment on the first Monday of the month, so sometimes I lose a couple days doing that over the weekend. So the first thing I want to talk about was letter writing, and letter writing has been a challenge for me. I wanted to write a letter every single day in the month, at least cumulatively. Like, I wasn't expecting that I would wake up every morning and write a letter. But I have run into a couple of interesting challenges, not good, not bad, and I don't want this assignment to be a way of measuring me and measuring how successful of a person I'm being, because really it's just a way to make memories. It's a way to step outside of my comfort zone and not let the days kind of slip through my fingers like sand. For me, the Memory Maker assignment is a way of putting medium effort up front into deciding how I'm going to spend my time, and then spending my time that way and getting maximum enjoyment out of my time because I put a bit of medium effort into thinking about what might be fun to play around with or experiment with. So I don't want the fact that I did not write 29 letters to be in any way a bar for how good was February. February was great. It had its own memories and challenges, but letter writing and not writing 29 letters is not part of what made that a good or bad month. A couple of interesting things to perhaps think about. The first thing is I kind of overestimated what I had available to me to write letters. I kind of thought, oh, I'll just grab a bit of paper here and a bit of stickers there and some colored pens and I'll just write letters. But I should have put a bit of effort, again, medium effort up front, into kind of collecting those and making a bit of a box that I could go to when I had a spare moment to write a letter. And because I typically found I'd have a window of time to write a letter, and I'd spend a bit of time cobbling together an envelope and a card, and where are my pens at, and do I even have a stamp for this? So the kind of supplies that letter writing requires, and this makes me think now why there are things like antique letter writing desks, because you gotta have that stuff organized if you're gonna sit down. And letter writing, you know, used to be a kind of like a way to pass time, a way to be social and engaged. Really see why an antique letter writing desk had all these compartments for all of these things that letter writing requires. Certainly ladies back in, you know, the late 20th century or the early 20th century were not, you know, sort of rummaging around here, there, and everywhere for their kids' stickers to find what would make the nicest letter. The other thing that got in my way was perfectionism, because I really wanted my letter receivers to receive a nice letter. And so I'd often think well, I don't really have anything to write about, or I don't really have nice paper right now, or I can't figure out where I last left those colored pens, so that's not going to be nice for somebody. And certainly I'm not about to grab a scrap piece of paper and scribble something and mail it to somebody. That wouldn't be nice. But everything I have is like pretty serviceable when it comes to letter writing. I don't have special stationery, but I did have some cards and things that I had uncovered in decluttering in January, and so I was attempting to work my way through that kind of paper supply that we already had at home. Part of me wishes I had actually gone to like Michael's and found something kind of cute, because I think that would have motivated me just a little bit. With that being said, I resist against that in the way that I'm trying to live my life right now, which is, if you want to do something, what do you already have to get it done? So often we think, oh, I want to do something, but I have to go out and shop or go out and acquire a thing or be a certain kind of person before I can do what I want to do. And I'm trying to resist against that, because I think the activity of shopping for or becoming the thing is actually the diversion from getting you to where you want to go. And often it can take someone like me, it can take me completely off course, and I can never end up writing any letters. So I did write about 11 or 13 letters that I've mailed. Some I've actually dropped off or given to people in person, and that actually feels really good. Another barrier to writing letters is addresses. That makes me a little bit reminiscent to the 80s and 90s, when my mom had like, you know, she had like a big book and it had everybody's address in it. And I think slowly over time, that has gotten to be kind of challenging to have people's addresses at your fingertips. So there were a couple of times when I had to reach out to people and say, hey, send me your address. And that I wanted to kind of surprise people with letters. And so acquiring addresses kind of became a little bit of another additional hurdle. It really has made me think, you know, letter writing is very much like the slow go when it comes to communicating with people, because you have to have the paper products, you have to have a stamp, you have to have the person's address, you have to have the time to write a letter and all the supplies that it might take, an envelope and nice paper. And all those things, they kind of set you up for this long, slow process of writing the letter, mailing. You have to walk to a mailbox. You have to know where the mailboxes are. I thought that would be kind of like romantic and satisfying, and actually it became a little bit of a hindrance. For example, I wrote a letter to my Aunt Anita. If I want to communicate with my Aunt Anita, I have her cell phone number and I can text her very quickly and have a really sweet interaction with her over text or even a phone call that would take less resources and time and effort and probably still deliver the same maximum impact. Now, that's on my end. On her end, I don't know what it would be like to receive a text from me or versus receive a letter from me. Those are two sort of separate things. I have written to everybody who sent me their address. Thank you for sending me your addresses. For those of you that participated in stories. And I think I'm going to cobble together a bit of a newsletter, a family newsletter, and possibly mail that out to some, you know, extended family, extended relatives, because we've had this third baby in August and the kids are growing so fast, and a newsletter to me is kind of a way, it's kind of cheating. I don't really see a newsletter the same as like a letter, a handwritten letter, but I think for me, I would like to have a newsletter of this like window in time with my family. The second thing was to do gratitude journaling. Again, this was something I posted, I wrote a post about it. I've gotten a little bit better at it, but I really had to pivot my attention from gratitude, which is, in my mind, a comparison, an act of comparing. I'm so grateful that the sun is shining today, because yesterday and the day before that and the day before that, it wasn't shining. And it's this kind of like ping pong between the good thing or the thing that you're grateful for and the thing that is absent of that. And for me, I felt like I was getting a little bit repetitive in those things, and what instead I've just kind of flipped, and I don't think it really makes the practice different at all. The result is totally different, but the process is a little bit easier for me, which is to think about appreciation. So the things in my life that I appreciate in the moment, just for being what they are, not because I might not have them someday, or I never had them, or there are people in the world that don't have that. For example, to say, you know, oh, I'm so glad my kids are healthy. Some people's kids are sick. That to me was like a bit of an anxiety experience, and I would rather just say, I really appreciate right now how healthy the kids are and how much they're growing and how much they love experiencing the world. So flipping from gratitude to appreciation has been helpful for me. And I know a lot of people don't need that. A lot of people see gratitude and appreciation as the same thing. I did want to talk quickly about the 2 journals that I use to kind of cue my practice. And I'm going to keep doing this because, again, I want to look back. I really like looking back. And I think if I think about memory makers, the goal of that is to always kind of look back and think like, well, what was I doing in February of 2020? And this is like a really hardcore, tangible example of what I was doing in 2020. This is the Happiness Project 1-sentence journal. It says for mothers. I don't think it has to be for mothers. It's by Gretchen Rubin. She is one of my favorite sort of like secular gurus on happiness and removing happiness stumbling blocks, are the things that she calls them. She has books, she has a podcast, she has a website, she has an app, she's got this journal. So she's way out there. If you want to dabble in Gretchen Rubin, I would highly recommend her. She's very well known. So this journal has basically 1 day per page, and every day there's a year. So it says 20 and then blank, and then there's a little kind of reflection at the top, and after that you can kind of journal. And this was given to me by my best friend Emily in 2015, and I was actually pregnant with Henry when she gave this to me. Or I didn't know I was pregnant, but I was pregnant with Henry when she gave it to me. And so if I look actually at this, there are times in 2016 where I actually documented that I found out I was pregnant. And I've been writing in it off and on since 2015. It seems like the end of the year and the beginning of the year, I really spend a lot of time. There are some pages that are full. And so I really like that. And it's been nice to kind of find the pages that have more than 1 year and to read those when I'm journaling. So this is a really great resource. It's a great gift. It's a great shower gift. It's a great birthday gift. It's a great Mother's Day gift if you have someone in your life that likes this kind of thing. And thank you to Emily for giving it to me. It's very nice. The second thing was also a gift. It was a gift from my colleague Connie. This is the 2-Minute Mornings. This is called by Neil Pasricha. Neil Pasricha is the author of The Book of Awesome and the books that follow that. I guess similar to Gretchen Rubin, he's a bit of a happiness and gratitude guru in our collective sort of culture right now. And this is a cool little journal. It has a page with cues that's got the date. It says, I will let go of. And that's the very first thing that you journal on. And for me, that really clicks because typically if I'm writing about gratitude without letting go of something first, then I'm grateful for the opposite of whatever I'm hanging on to. So if I'm hanging on to some kind of conflict, then my gratitude is something that's conflict free. If I'm hanging on to something I'm beating myself up over, then my gratitude is probably something of a skill that I have. So I like this line, I will let go of first, because it allows me to let go of that, and then whatever I'm grateful for, which goes in this blue box, whatever I'm grateful for kind of is free of that baggage of whatever is kind of the monkey on my back. And then the last one is there's 3 lines here to say I will focus on. This is kind of tricky for me because it's unlikely that I would go back to this. So if I'm like, oh, I'm going to focus on letter writing, meal planning, and, making an appointment, I'm not going to go back to this. So I think I need to kind of figure out how to use this because I've been sort of using it as a to-do list, basically. I like that there's only 3 things because I think our time is finite every day, and having a long to-do list every day can be daunting and also not counterproductive, because if you really only have time to focus on 3 things today, then your list should really only have 3 things, and everything else that you want to do or that's in your mind should go on another list. So those are the 2 journals that I've been using for my gratitude journaling, and I like both of them, and they were both gifted to me, and I'm very grateful to the givers because they have been really nice tools in my life. So the baby's sleeping again. A couple of hours have passed, to be honest with you, but we're gonna make it through this. My hair looks a little more lived in. But again, medium effort. I'm looking forward to talking about the last thing, which is I challenged myself to add pink. So this is not necessarily about clothes and makeup, although I do like to lean into like assignments that kind of focus on that because it's something that brings me a lot of joy and it's a good self-care activity for me in the season that I'm in my life right now. Challenged myself to grab for something pink, even if I was shopping or if I was like picking an option, that I would choose pink. And that's just because it's February. February is, you know, the kind of Valentine's month, and pink is a good, to me, it's a good rosy color that I like having around in February, which can be sort of grayer. Pink is a good antidote to gray, in my opinion. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Now I will say today is February 26th and I am sick of pink right now. I'm totally done with pink. But there were a lot of opportunities that I had to add pink to my life and I had a lot of fun with it. I bought a new phone case that's pink and it brings me great joy. I bought this planter back here. This is from Indigo. This is my new planter for my plant Goderich. And I love how it makes him now look like the hair to the planter. And I chose the pink planter, which I normally wouldn't have done. So there's two products that I want to review that I really felt like I wanted to share with you in terms of the pinkiness of them. The first one is something that I've owned for a long time. It's a perfume. This is Pink Sugar. Pink Sugar is like a well-known drugstore fragrance. This has been around for a long time. I haven't had this bottle for that long, but it just kind of smells like its name. It smells sort of cotton candy-ish, sort of powdery, very sweet. And to me, this is a nice fragrance to kind of like spray and then walk through. I try not to spray it right on. The other place I like to spray this in my hair, actually. It's not for everybody. But listen, I think when I think about adding pink, and I'm not gonna pick my clothes or I'm not gonna pick my makeup, this is what I like to add. I like to add pink by adding this perfume. I really like the smell of it. It's something for me. It's something that I smell through the day. And I think you wouldn't really smell it around or on me because of how I put it on. I think if you spray it directly, then it definitely packs a punch. This is like a traditional thing, I would say. Like if you were going on a date, this is a really good date perfume. And you can get this at the drugstore for anywhere between $20 and $30. If you're looking for something kind of fun and silly to try out, I would recommend it. The second thing is brand new to me. This is a new eyeshadow palette to me. I decided to treat myself to this eyeshadow palette. I had a little bit of a gift card left, and then I have still been making money on Facebook Marketplace. Not as much as last month, but still a pretty reasonable amount. And this is the Nude Light makeup palette by Huda Beauty. I've never purchased anything from Huda Beauty before, but you can see how add pink, and it comes with a bunch of really nice pink shades. So you have a handful of really beautiful pink shimmer shades, and they're just like, they really pack a punch. And they're a great way to bring pink into your life. I would say if you like wearing eyeshadow to work and you want to kind of branch out of neutrals, this is a pretty good palette to wear to work if you apply it in the right way. And I would also say this is a great date night palette again. It's not too expensive. It's about $40 Canadian. And I would say the quality of the shadows is excellent. It's definitely worth the money. And I would say you cannot find anything dupable in the drugstore, especially in these tones. You might find a dupable sort of metallic formula, but it's gonna kind of not land with the same color payoff that these shadows have here. Anyway, those are the two add pink things that I wanted to share with you. And that actually wraps up the assignment. What has been a memory maker for you this February? It was a very short blip of a month, and yet I still feel really happy that I managed to put some time and energy up front in the month to really make the most of those short days. I hope you can feel that the days are getting longer. We're moving into March. I have a lot of fun things planned for the month of March. A lot of family time coming up in the month of March with March break in the middle there. And I hope you will join me. Please, as always, let's connect over on Instagram. I'm at Medium.Lady over there, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Take care and have a great day. Bye. I didn't talk about my Pink Rebellion. Just kidding, I love